Creating and managing markets is the principal task of the entrepreneur, the CEO, and the manager. So what does this mean? First, the company must create a customer, someone who wants the product and is willing to pay a price for it. Second, the company must manage the supply of the product. This requires the management of people, procurement of raw materials, the raising of capital, and more. In today's video, I'm going to tell you 3 stories of people, companies, markets, and management, and the lessons that I've drawn from them. My first story is about a company called QB that was started in 2014 by Shivani Jain and Arnav Dalmia. Shivani and Arnav had recently graduated from the University of Chicago and were first-time entrepreneurs. The idea for their business emerged from the observation that between work, commuting, shopping, and sleeping, working professionals in the US did not have the time to exercise. What if there was a way for people to burn calories and get their heart rates up while working? Their solution? A compact elliptical. A compact elliptical is an exercise machine sitting on the floor, under a desk or at the foot of the couch. Using it is easy. All that is required is pushing with one's legs, as if one is walking. Wild as the idea was, the thought that their idea might have legs first occurred to them when they were able to raise $300,000 in capital in a Kickstarter campaign from a few hundred investors. Their first task was to design and produce the elliptical. What they lacked in experience and expertise, they made up in passion and open-mindedness. It took them 18 months and numerous visits to Chinese factories to design and procure an elliptical. And then came the next challenge, convincing the customer to buy their elliptical. Their hypothesis was that their target customer was the young, busy, working professional, a 20-something or a 30-something person, someone who was a fitness enthusiast, someone who was busy, and someone who embraced multitasking. The plan was to sell ellipticals to the target customer through channels that sold office supply equipment and hardware, such as Staples, Office Depot, Home Depot, Lowe's, etc. But these channels turned out to be a dead end. The retailers proposed prices that were below QB's cost of production. Meanwhile, the company needed money and fundraising was difficult. Arnav and Shivani learned that investors were not enamored at the prospect of investing in a new category, especially in a hardware company that produced a low-tech product. In 2016, on the suggestion of a mentor, QB launched on QVC, a TV network that enables shopping from home 24/7. Running out of ideas, Shivani and Arnav decided to give the idea a shot. When they first launched on QVC, their hope was that selling $200,000 worth of ellipticals would constitute a success. Their actual sales? $4 million. What they discovered was that the customer who embraced their compact elliptical was not the young working professional. In fact, the typical buyer was above 60, sometimes in their 80s. Many were recovering from injury, surgery, and were in rehab. Some were obese and needed to lose weight, and many simply wanted to stay active. QB was an ideal product for them because it was easy to use, convenient, and made for a low-intensity workout. Many became devoted customers of QB and became spokespeople for QB's ellipticals. When the COVID pandemic arrived in 2000, QB's sales took off. Over 50,000 ellipticals were sold in the first 3 months, and private equity firms began to circle QB. In October 2020, Gridiron Capital took a controlling stake in QB, valuing the firm at $106 million. In February 2022, Shivani and Arnav, who had just become parents, stepped down from their roles at QB. I draw 3 lessons from Arnav and Shivani's experiences. Lesson 1. Our initial hypotheses are often wrong. Markets tell us when something is working and not working. But it takes active listening to customers and other stakeholders to recognize what changes must be made. Lesson 2. Being open to revising beliefs and opinions is crucial. Lean on advisors and mentors for guidance. Lesson 3, manage the business as if you will have to own it through your lifetime. Now for my second story. This one is about a professional sports league that many of you in the US may not be familiar with, and everyone in India will know very well. I'm talking about the Indian Premier League, or the IPL. The IPL is the most popular cricket league in the world. It is a cricket league based in India. It employs a city-based franchise ownership model like the NFL. Compared to other professional sports leagues around the world, the IPL is one of the youngest. It was established in 2007. And compared to other professional leagues, the IPL has the shortest season, approximately 10 weeks each year, a mere 74 games. Despite its youth, the IPL is ranked 13th worldwide in terms of total revenues and second highest worldwide in terms of revenues per game. In 2023, the IPL attained Decacorn status with an estimated value of $10.7 billion. That will place the IPL behind the NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball. The IPL is ranked 6th worldwide in terms of attendance per game. Add TV attendance, and average viewership per game is 6.75 million. The 2023 IPL final was watched by 120 million people worldwide, a shade below Super Bowl 2024, which had 123 million viewers. The IPL is a creation of the Board of Control for Cricket in India, or the BCCI, a kind of national sporting body. Even though the BCCI is de jure a private organization, important people from India's major political parties have often had formal and informal roles. The IPL is arguably India's most successful business initiative. That it has been professionally managed and that it has been enterprising as well as efficient will surprise many people, because enterprises that include politicians and government officials are usually not always so. There are 4 lessons to be drawn from the IPL's successes. Lesson 1 is on the ever-present need to manage multiple stakeholders. Lesson 2 is to aspire to create the best product, service, and experience possible. For a range of reasons, many firms lose the zeal to do so. Lesson 3 is the need to draw in new fans, customers, and partners. The IPL has been very successful in drawing in fans that have traditionally been neglected in Indian sport, such as people from small town India, women, and children. The IPL has done so by bringing in glamour and entertainment to the sport, by including Bollywood and regional movie stars as part of pre-game, halftime, and post-game shows. Lesson 4 is to globalize the product. I don't think that there are many Indian companies that have globalized as successful as the IPL. My third story is of a startup company, Unext, that I joined at the height of the dot-com era in August 1999. I was employee number 24. Unext, a Deerfield, Illinois-based company, aspired to be the elite provider of education and training on the internet. Think Coursera or Udacity, a decade before they came to be. Unext believed that it had a compelling value proposition: education and training to be provided on demand. Courses designed for the working professional. Courses designed using problem-solving pedagogy. And content curated by the best teachers at the world's leading universities. Unext was started in 1997 by a successful and well-connected entrepreneur, Andrew Rosenfield. The company established partnerships with elite educational institutions such as the University of Chicago, London School of Economics, Stanford University, Columbia University, and Carnegie Mellon University. Importantly, Unext had the backing of 2 high-profile investors with deep pockets, Michael Milken and Larry Ellison, who together invested more than $100 million in Unext. In the late 1990s, the dot-com boom was at its apex. The internet was perceived as a game changer. Public and private investment markets were booming, and dot-com companies were all the rage. Unext was the leading edtech company. It had raised more than $180 million in capital, had built a 500-person company teeming with experts of all sorts. In early 2000, Credit Suisse First Boston's analysts valued Unext at upwards of $500 million. But then in the spring of 2000, the dot-com bubble burst. By November 2000, many dot-com companies had lost more than 75% of their value. And Unext, like many other companies, was forced to reevaluate its operations and investment plans. Unext never recovered its mojo. Sales revenues, never high to begin with, began to slow to a trickle. General Motors, Unext's most high-profile customer, had talked about providing all of its employees with access to Unext courses. But 2 years later, less than 1,000 employees had taken a course at Unext. By the beginning of 2001, Unext had burned through $120 million in capital and had to furiously backpedal on its investments and operations. By August 2001, Unext had laid off over 50% of its workforce and shuttered numerous projects. In 2003, in a final throw of the dice, Unext entered into a partnership with the New York Institute of Technology to provide the technology to establish an online education program. That relationship ended in 2008 with bitter lawsuits. I learned 2 lessons from working at Unext. Lesson 1, verify what customers want before you make big investments. It cost Unext about $1 million to develop the equivalent of an MBA course. In late 2000, after spending upwards of $60 million on developing MBA courses, Unext announced that it would shift its attention to producing short courses. Lesson 2, many companies die of starvation, but some companies die of indigestion. Too much money was Unext's problem. No expense was spared as Unext hired people willy-nilly, took on projects without adequate consideration of costs and benefit. Its culture and management practices were incompatible with the characteristics of the best startups: speed, effectiveness, and prudent risk-taking.